Hey folks, here we are. It is Wednesday and what a great day in the neighborhood it is. Cameras still aren't working and I'm really struggling with all of that, but I'm here today. I'm Tom Young and we're here for anchorfm.com podcast called Money Shifts and the Family Money Farm Group live on Facebook. Interesting day that I've got for you today. We're going to have a round robin discussion of some things and an announcement that on Tuesday, September 17th, Eastern Standard Time at 7 p.m. will be the first of a series of banking workshops. I'm going to bring some of the intricacies of banking and knowledge to bear so that you understand how it actually works, how insurance companies charge interest, because it's absolutely different than what the banks do and what's going on. So it's going to be exciting. I will continue to announce that. We're going to do an email blast. So if I don't have your email address, you want to make sure that I have it. You can also do that by going to cfo-project.com, put in your name and email address. You'll get an email with a download of my new book, The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, and my newest ebook called Financial Mastery Coaching, The Blueprint. So you can access those for free, get a download of cover-to-cover books, and so forth. Go to cfo-project.com. We start every presentation with prayers for everybody in the world. The world seems to be on fire right now in more ways that we can think of. With the action in Ukraine and Russia, with the pandemic going on close to 3 years now, 1 million people have died around the world. And, 1 million people, that's a lot, but I don't know whether that is a normal. How many people on an annual basis in the world actually die in a year? Out of the 6.5 or so billion people on the planet, how many people die from the flu and heart attack and all those other things? And let's do some research and put it in proper perspective. But we do know that at this point in time, the pandemic, the COVID-19, the virus launched out of Wuhan lab in China, has touched everybody in the world. There are so many conspiracy theories going on about why, what, where, how, who, and on and on and on of this stuff. And maybe through God's action, we will all eventually know the truth of what really happened and why it happened. Maybe there was a purpose behind it. I don't know. But we pray for everybody. We pray for those who have lost loved ones. We pray for the loved ones who have been lost. And we ask the Lord to open his arms and gather them into his kingdom of heaven above. We also want to send our prayers to Ukraine and Russia, that this conflict of whatever it is gets resolved and the truth be found out about why. And let's stop this massive killing of people in Ukraine and I'm sure in Russia with what's going on. So our prayers go out for everybody in that arena. We want to talk today, let me throw my quote in there today. We still have quotes that we do. And this quote is from Sam Walton. I have always been driven to buck the system, to innovate, to take things beyond where they have been. And that is a great thought. I want to expand on that because that brings me to you and I. Personal growth is not optional. You either grow you towards the direction that you want to go, or the world will take over and they will grow you into what they want you to become. And that is the sad story. They will grow you into what they want you to become. They will render you average. They will take all your money. I mean, isn't it interesting that the average person in America reaching age 65 can't put his hands on $60,000 at the day you retire? So I don't understand that and what's going on, but I really want to talk about banking. We talk about all these things, and the title today is Velocity of Money Made Easy. What is velocity of money and multiplier? And I will expand on this more at the workshop on Tuesday, the 13th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Eastern Daylight Time. We're still on. So you want to mark your calendar, and we will be live on Facebook that night at 7 p.m. broadcasting on the Family Money Farm group. It will be recorded, and it will also be available to members of the Family Money Farm group, etc. So we're going to break it down. So when I talk about velocity of money and multiplier, money flows through our fingers every day. We trade time for money at work. We get paid a payroll, a paycheck. It's direct deposited possibly into our checking account at the bank. And from there, we have automatic drafts to pay other bills and other expenses. So that is money in motion. But in order to create velocity of money and multiplier, we need to look at how our money is flowing through our lives to stay in control of it. Now, what do I mean by that? If I use the analogy of water, I just took a drink. We drink water, we pee it out. Our body absorbs it. Our bodies are made up of 80% water, 90% water in the functioning body. We cannot live without water, so it passes through us. It isn't the water we take in and we continue to blow up and retain all this water, although older folks with heart problems have a retained water problem and they have to take water pills to get rid of it. Whatever. But water has to move. It can be in vapor, it can be ice, it can be liquid, but it is always on the move. It rained in the last couple of days here in Western Pennsylvania. And I would just stop and think, where did the water come from that fell on us as rain? It could have come from India 3 or 4 days ago and moving around the earth in clouds as a vapor, and then eventually it rains down on us. It could have rained down and then ultimately become snow if the air is cold enough. So it could be ice in the Arctic or the Antarctic, but it is still water and it has to move. Fish in the water, in the oceans and in the rivers and everywhere, they pass water over their gills and they absorb the oxygen out of the water. And again, the water is in motion. Money is the same thing. Without money in motion, the economy stops. If everybody this week, as you get your paycheck, your income check, whatever comes to you in money, we all go to the bank and cash the check out and for cash. First off, there would be a problem because the banks would run out of cash because there isn't enough cash in the bank to pay everybody all their money. It just doesn't exist. So if everybody took their money, put it in a tin can in the backyard and buried it in the backyard, the economy would come to a screeching halt. Because when that money stops moving, the economy stops working. And no money is made. When you go to the grocery store to buy groceries, where did those groceries come from? That money moves through that system, that capitalistic system, that there are people complaining about capitalism today, but capitalism is what created the financial success around the world. Because all capitalism is people create goods and services that are purchased by other people. When I buy groceries at the grocery store, The grocer gets a percentage of that money in his profit. He gets to pay the salaries of the people that work in the grocery store, but he also pays for the goods that are shipped to him. And the goods that are shipped to him, money pays the truck drivers that drive the trucks. The truck drivers and then spend the money in grocery stores to buy food for their family. You get the idea, folks. We cannot lose sight of this, because this is what's going on right now. People are trying to get you to think wrongly about the economy and capitalism. And it is all a movement to socialize the world, where only the few elite billionaires, the World Economic Forum, the one world government, they own everything. They own you. They own the tools of production. And everything stops. That is what's going on around the world, folks. You need to wake up and do some research. Now, all of that being said, it's about banking. It is about, how do I position my money so that, in fact, I can operate like a banking system? That is really what I want to do. I want to take control of the banking processes in my life. Because when I deal with the commercial banks that are tied to Wall Street and the financial world, they are in business to make money off of me. They have 4 basic rules that they live and work by and make profit by. Number one, I want all your money. I want more ongoing. I need it to flow through my financial institution. I want you to pile it up here because I want to keep it forever. And I want to give back as little as possible. That keeps the money in motion on their side of the table, not yours. They add a fee to all those transactions by which the trillions and trillions of dollars that flow through that system generate billions of dollars, trillions of dollars of revenue for the financial world. By you and I giving up control of our money. The number one goal that I have when I work with people is to teach you how to be in control of your money, to take over the banking equation. The 4 rules that I teach people, number one, is the goal is to get to saving a minimum of 20% of your gross annual income. As your income rises, that percentage also increases. At $300,000 a year income, you should be saving 30% of your gross annual income. The second goal is to accumulate accessible capital. Secret, accessible. In other words, you have access to this money without paying a fee or asking permission or paying a tax to be able to access this money. And the goal is to have 50% of your household income in accessible cash. So if you make $200,000 a year, you need to have access to $100,000. If you had access to $100,000 without taxes or penalties or fees or asking somebody else permission, you would never have to run credit card balances on credit cards. You would be able to pay them off every month at the end of the month, and therefore incur no interest through the credit cards. The third rule is owning your debt. Debt is not going to go away. However, you can own your debt. Now, what do I mean by owning your debt? It means that if you buy a car, you come up with the money to pay for the car. Out of savings, out of somewhere, money from your life insurance policy that you leveraged with the insurance company to access that money. And which means it's unstructured debt and you're in control of the payments, but you still must pay payments to yourself with interest. So when you own the banking and you've learned how to do that, rule number 4 is the CFO project. And the CFO project simply means you are now the CFO at home, and you're going to teach your children about the CFO project so that when they go off to college, if that is appropriate for them to do, and I believe not everybody should go to college. I did not go to a 4-year formal college. I went to a local associate college for almost 2 years, all paid for. I didn't have student loans. I paid as I went because it was affordable at the local community college. There are things wrong, people, and we need to step up and fix them. The first level of fixing it is with yourself. The 4th rule is the CFO project. In other words, you accept the responsibility of being the CFO at home. You manage the money like a CFO in a company. You teach your children how to manage the money like a CFO so that when they become adults, they become part of the family committee that manages the family financial resources. And that is how you will teach your children how to become great CFOs, and in turn, the potential of creating multi-generational wealth. Wealth that when you die will pass to your children without government intervention, without taxation. It will go directly to your children without any notices to anybody else. And then ultimately from your children to your grandchildren. And we will create an exorbitant amount, an abundant amount of wealth that is not part of the government's plan in any way, shape, or form. And it will further finance all of the future debt of the family, whether it's college for the grandkids or whatever it is, will all be funded with family money. But in that becomes the responsibility of paying it back. We will get into this more in our next get-together at the end of the week on Friday. I'll be back here at noon. I apologize for the last couple of weeks. I've not been on here. Monday this week was a holiday, and I've had this crazy problems. And I'm sorry, I keep looking up there because that's where the camera is, and it's not working. The camera is right here in the computer. They actually changed the camera in my computer, thinking that that was the problem, but it has turned out that it is not the problem, and the camera still does not create the video on the screen as we do this. So God bless. Have a great day, a great week. I will see you in a couple of days here. Get my new book. Go to cfo-project.com. Put in your name and email address, and you will get an email instantly with a link to be able to download cover to cover both of my new books, The Family Money Farm, the CFO Project, and the Financial Mastery Coaching Blueprint. Mark your calendar for September 13th. That's next week, 13th. And we're going to start a series of banking education. How do I do this? How does it work? How do loans work with the insurance company? And on and on and on. We're going to provide on hands, very basic, simple, understandable instructions on how to implement the infinite banking concept and truly become the CFO at home. God bless you all. I will see you again here in a couple of days. Have a great day. God bless.